issue of the private schools, most of us here pick their private schools where people send their children that are wealthy or well enough to afford that. Apparently he's changed the definition of private if it's going to be government funded.
Yes. Sure there. Without accountability. The schooner students will take the test. Private schools will not have to take the test. Now, I do not, for a second, want to be critical of the quality of education at the Catholic school, any other private school. I will talk about the challenges in public school. In choice education, I doubt if there's very many schools in choice or private schools that take severely disabled children who are unable to speak and who are just learning basic living functions. I doubt if there are very many of these schools that have a whole class, a class of 25 in which 12 of them are ADHD students of varying degrees. When you think about the importance of teacher aid, imagine the value of teacher aides who are taking care of kids that are hard to manage, that bite, that kick, that scratch, that are disruptive. And their job is to keep them calm. How many of them are autistic, severely autistic? And yet, because of the love and care of public education, they help those kids become better than ever. And we've lost sight of all of that. Yes, sir. Paul?
You mentioned Catholic schools as being private. Yeah. To people that are members of the Catholic community support, they have to pay their fees to send their children there. Plus, they pay for the public school system. So, apparently, the Catholic system works. They can survive without government help.
But they'll take it if they can get it. Oh. And so it's interesting. The result of the governor's budget cuts will be larger class sizes in public schools and smaller class sizes in private schools. So there's something. This is really. Many of them have never liked public education. They want parents to have choice. They don't understand this notion that it takes a village to educate a child. They only care about one parent and one family, their own family. That's not community. That's not a society. That's not a collective commitment to the well-being of all. Who else? Who's got a question? Yes, back here? Yes, ma'am.
I'm honored to ask the question of a true American hero. Of the Northwestern School District, how they issued pink slips to all of the teachers. Yeah. I don't know when their master contract expires, but if it should expire before it's time to rebuild that staff, yeah. Or in a similar situation when the teachers don't have the protection of a master contract, can teachers be recalled without regard to steps and lanes and seniority?
The answer is yes. And the answer is no. The administration will have the authority to hire and to remove teachers regardless of years of experience.
We can only hope then that the administration is comprised of good and honorable.
Yeah, we hope so. And I'll be encouraging that. Let me also teach. Can I finish? It's my wife. I shouldn't interfere. But I want to comment about this hero thing. I'm deeply touched that people have associated hope with what I've done. But I'm not a hero. The Fukushima 50 hero. Look, let's think about it for a minute. Those 50 nameless individuals who are literally putting their lives on the line to save Japan are heroes. The men and women in the National Guard from Spooner, Superior, and Hayward, across this state that have been into Iraq and Afghanistan not once but twice are heroes. The men and women who put their lives on the line are heroes. I'm a public servant who went on a field trip for 23 days to promote our democracy, and I'm glad to be a part of it. But thank you. Cheech?
Going back to this lady's question about Northwestern. A week ago, actually, probably 2 weeks ago, all of the staff, 92 teachers, our oldest teacher, Pat Lustring, who has been extremely active in the community and in the school, was taught for 40 plus years. She received a pink slip, all the way down to our newest teacher. Friday, before the teachers left for midwinter break, they were all given a piece of paper to sign that stated they would be coming back, but not necessarily in the position that they were teaching, and not necessarily on the lane that they were at, and not necessarily in the capacity that they are teaching presently. So, as Bob said, they're going to start hacking from the top down, because that's where the expense is.
Yes, sir. You have a question?
I was wondering if you could address Governor Walker's statement yesterday when the New Berlin Superintendent School was at his side, and he said, and Governor Walker, he said the budget repair bill and the new budget bill are going to protect school districts from laying off staff. And I see it in a different way. There's going to be a mass exodus of some of our best teachers from our schools, and there may not have to be many layoffs because of attrition, but there will be a reduction in staff in most districts. There's going to be a reduction in full-time equivalents. And then he goes on to say, he pulls out of the air that many of the school superintendents around the state support him, but they're just not willing to speak out. Could you address those statements?
Remember, I know, I want to cry out as well. Let me go from your last part of your statement to the beginning. I have received letters from mayors, school superintendents, the School District Administrators Association, county board chairs, and many other elected officials at town meeting the other night who said, we don't want the tools Scott Walker is giving us. We know how to solve problems by sitting down with the people who are our neighbors, our friends, and members of this community. And they don't want it. So he is wrong. He has something. But isn't it amazing? He pulls this stuff out of the air. I've got these people, but they won't tell him who they are.
Yeah.
Baloney. I'll be glad to lay out for people who the mayors are that are talking. Mayor Hurley sent me a letter, little Hurley, and he sent a 2-page letter and said, "Listen, when I need to settle a contract, I don't need an arbitrator, I don't need a negotiator. I need a cup of coffee. I sit down with these people and we work it out, because that's the way we do things in northern Wisconsin. Many of the contracts in northern Wisconsin have been settled. Many county contracts require those employees to pay the 12% health care. And nobody put a gun to anybody's head. They agreed to do it because they understand shared sacrifice. So he is flat out wrong. Number two, in regards to superintendents, in regards to school aids, there are 2 provisions in the budget that affect schools. One is the amount of state aids. And you hit the nail on the head. Sure, when teachers pay more, that may help some school districts, but it isn't going to cover it all. But the real harm to it is that they will not rehire some teachers who leave. So if Northwestern has 10 who leave, they may only hire 1 back. And therefore your class sizes go up. It makes it harder for the rest of the teachers. It shortens their tenure. They leave education, they go somewhere else.
Programs will
and
be cut.
And programs are going to be cut. The other thing that he has not talked about, and I've been frustrated we haven't been able to get to the point yet, is that he then cuts the amount, tells school districts they have to spend $500 less today than they're currently spending for students. That's a $600 million cut that the school districts have to make. So he's washing his hands here. That's their decision. And he is going to force fights between neighbors in which kids are pitted in the middle. This community just went through a referendum. It's gone through many other referendums. And we're going to go to war over the future of our education system. Education should be the centerpiece of community pride, not the central location of